Whoa, the recording's gonna work? Okay. Do, 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 do. Landing without ease and having everything that comes open up fully. Oh, even in our Zoom rooms that are fun, whether we have cameras off or we have cameras on, allow yourself to be part of this beautiful meditation and allowing yourself, whether you share a word vocally or you hold it inside fully intentionally, be present to who you continue to be, at least in the first 5 minutes of our gathered community.
I think my mic.
Being the change I want to wear.
Getting it done.
Follow up.
Five minutes in, allowing everything to fall. not even the thoughts or the whispers of what's currently in all of your mind. Allow it to be open, allow it to reset, refresh, and be unspoken. And at least where you create something new and open, and whatever else filters in, allow it to offer in this moment to have you become the best version of self. Now give yourself a breath. As you inhale, what have you been dealt? Beginning today, whether it be of your choice or something unexpected, allow yourself to be fully held and supported without needing to be protected, for you are empowered, prepared, and you're about to seize the day. And at least in these next 10 minutes, allow yourself to stay in whatever thoughts, feelings come into your way, at least in this divine, beautiful wordplay with follow up, getting it done, and being the change I want to wear, allowing yourself to open up and continue to be in this practice as you do not spare a moment or a thought. Allow everything to be as it continues to filter in oh so naturally. And whether you share any additional words or word out loud, or you hold it intentional, allow yourself to be proud. You showed up today knowing you are the best version of self. And however we can be here, we're so grateful to have helped. Transparency. And bringing ourselves present for the first 15 minutes, allowing ourselves to continue to sink in or slip in it wherever we've been, whether we share what we experienced or we empower our listening and give the community that listening, and not only where they've been, but also what they share, allowing ourselves maybe not to coach, but just be aware that they are a reflection of what do we dare to say is part of our truth and where our community continues to share. And so again, in this reciprocity, whether you're able to stay for a few minutes or you have to hop on, continue to be in wherever you are the best version that continues to pursue it. Whether you share in what you've experienced or reflect on what others might share in this space. Thank you so much, one another. Nicole, Susan, Lisa, Lauren, for being here on this divine day that we are practicing our meditation. So as we open up the room, like we very often do, whether you share or you allow yourself to listen, thank you for empowering our community, at least in this day that we've come together. And since there are newer people, I'll kick us off. I loved that where today's conversation, for those who are part of the morning rush, really empowers me to realize like you don't always know exactly how you're going to show up or even how people perceive you. And so what really opened up to me about being the change I want to wear was a term that was coined, because I know a lot of people probably are familiar with the be the change you want to see. And it lets me know that even though I have a very busy day, like literally right before this, I was doing like a boxing thing, crossing fingers, y'all, because for some who've been here, I was supposed to find out yesterday. So I'm crossing fingers that today I find out if I got chosen for this Adidas commercial they have happening this week and next week out here in the Twin Cities. And I'm just like preparing. And as I am, I'm also aware that I have so many different areas of my life that I go through that it literally goes almost like hour to hour. I could be experiencing something that in 20 minutes, people won't be aware of it, but how do they perceive me when I show up? And so after the first almost 3.5 minutes, transparency came to me. So I'm like, how can I actually have my life feel seamless to where it doesn't create a distraction? Because I do realize, like right now, this would not be how I would show up for most of my times with people. Like my hair is like I'm literally still sweating in this my boyfriend's sweatshirt. Like I wouldn't even wear my boyfriend's sweatshirt. So like what is it that transparency has me recognizing right now that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And so just taking that into heart. And so how can I intentionally create today as being the best version of self that really shows up not only powerfully, but promotes that idea that I am building a lifestyle that's effortless and that people can see, yes, I'm doing work, but it also doesn't take away my self-worth of like, this girl needs to take a shower kind of thing. And so I'm really present to that because I'm so grateful for all the nuggets. And it's not even 8:30 for me right now. So I'm really grateful that you all are here. Welcome again, Grand Rising Ilioma. And I'd love to hear what else is opening up for people on this beautiful Wednesday morning.
Two of the things that came up for me were, or the phrase I should say is show up and follow up. Kind of what you're saying, how are you showing up? And for me, sometimes it's just needing to show up. I've been in a state of grieving and not showing up. I haven't been attending my, morning rush calls. I haven't been attending networking events and things. And this last 2 weeks ago, I went to South Dakota for a week and I camped out in Custer Park and watched all the buffalo roundup and spent time with wilderness. And then I drove up to Yellowstone and tent camped at freezing, at 30, 32 degrees. And it was cold, but I saw 6 wolves. I saw hundreds of elk. I saw so much nature. And, those buffalo would look up and they'd look in your eyes and they'd look in your soul. And what happened for me being in nature is I was able to shed a lot of the grief and a lot of the stress that had built up in my body. And I had healthy food, whole food, barefoot, freezing cold, cooking, warming up coffee on a camp stove outside. Just getting into that space and getting back to nature was able to shed a lot of things. And I've come back and my calendar's full. I mean, I'm showing up. I've been to yesterday, I did 3 networking events. I've booked 3 1-to-1s with potential clients this week already. And it's amazing how when we can get back to ourselves, get back to who we are, back to our nature, and let some of those emotions pass through the body, not get stuck in it, that it frees us to be who we are and show up how we want to serve the world. So for me, what's really present is I'm showing up this week and I'm following up with the people that I meet as I show up. So thank you for the acknowledgement and the recognition of that this morning.
I was just gonna say I just got back from Vegas and it made me think a lot about distraction. I don't know why. Distraction is good, and I think that there's a place for it. It's just interesting. I was more conscious this trip than I was in the past. But yeah, it's like it's a very like, okay, let me back up. I visited my stepdad and I introduced him to yoga and to sound bath. He's like a tightly wound Italian who works, and you'll hear him yelling in like the room across the house because he's working. It's, ah, like really, we're always rushed, so I have to like slow down. But like, it's just how he is. It's nothing bad, wrong, whatever. But his heart is it won't be great, So I'm like, it's good for you anyway to slow down, right? First of all, and then this sound bath. So he goes to the sound bath, right? And he's like, "Wow, that was relaxing," and yeah, I kind of liked it, and I think I might go back. So that was really cool because I care about him. He raised me as he's my dad. So like basically, I want him to be healthy. But it was cool to bring that to him. Like it's something I cultivated in myself, slowing down and having space. And I'm working on it still. But yeah, you could understand, it's like when you're raised a certain way, whatever, your nervous system has kind of developed in that fight or flight. And so however that shows up. Yeah. So it's cool though that I'm aware, but like what we did was we biked in the Red Rocks. We did some yoga, things that were healthy. And I hope I instilled some sort of like, awareness in him, I guess you could say. So that's cool. So thank you. I'm sorry, what is morning rush?
Huh. Well, for most of us, we actually met through the morning empowerment call. That's for us, it would be 7 a.m. to 7:30 Central. And it's just 30 minutes that people really get together to like be centered in their heart and what they want to transform in the part of the world that they want to. And so we have people who come in all over the world, actually. In fact, one of the people who's speaking a lot today that I'm appreciative of, he works in AI out in Europe. And so it's kind of just a call that happens Mondays through Fridays that allows people an opportunity to really dive into where they are as their CEOs out making that difference, and then being around like-minded individuals who are willing to wake up that early to really dive into it.
I would wake up that early. Is it something you could send me a link to?
Absolutely. Actually, are you? Because
I own a business. I don't know.
Perfect, Lauren, because I connected with you through MN Soulfam, right?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
you can.
I'll message you directly then.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Honoring that pause, Lisa. And Grand Rising, Toddy. Curious if anyone else has anything they'd like to add in addition, or also in just favor of what they've already heard that might have sparked something new. I can actually go first. Lauren, thank you for saying that because I do realize sometimes with using acronyms and whatnot, that's another area I want to be in transparency. Like there are so many things we're all doing that sometimes we just assume that people know. Like even earlier today, I used a term called racket, which just means like things like on the front. Yeah. And
Did
sometimes,
you take Landmark?
yeah, I did.
Okay, me too. Yeah, I actually did the advanced course. Yeah, so I'm like, I totally know exactly these things that you're talking about. I actually did communication, took a lot of them actually. I knew it.
You were supposed to be here today.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so great. If anyone here doesn't know what Landmark is, it's amazing. They are online, Landmark Worldwide. Can I add you, Janine, to their beta group in WhatsApp? They have a group that actually has free like meetings. Yeah.
Please, actually signed up. Yeah, well, we'll even talk more online because I actually have a class I'm taking tonight at 7 p.m. I can invite you to.
Okay, perfect. That's so funny.
Hey, Lauren, if I give you my number on the chat group, can you add me to the beta group?
Yeah.
All right, great. It's Susan.
Oh, a girl named Christine will probably add you because she like is the admin, but you'll be added by her.
Okay, great.
Okay, Susan, thanks.
Well, thank you.
No problem. Yeah, we're meant to be on here, Janine. Awesome. It's funny because my stepdad actually introduced me to Landmark, and he's the one we're trying to like come down. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, the only like thing with us is we don't drink and everything. He hasn't drank for 38 years, right? And he talks to AA groups all over, like even in Las Vegas, like he'll talk to these big groups or whatever, or he'll sponsor people. Like he's a good guy, you know, but he also, you know, he's too wound up and he's always go, go, go. And it's like, I always feel like it's not too healthy, at least not for me anymore. Yeah.
I celebrate where you are, Lauren, and I honor where he is today. Thank you for sharing his energy. And Ilya, my
good morning. Yes, I'm gonna try something like maybe noticing how many times we are present where we are or how we show up, right? It's like I'm at the supermarket, it's Latin, and they have the music. And if your kid is here, they start dancing. You can look in any supermarket, like, and why I say that so many times, maybe if I tell myself where I'm holding myself back to be present in the moment, you know? At such a way, they can be our business, can be money, can be anything. As I am really present and dancing, the music that is there to dance. Or do I hold myself back? And when I go to store and I see music, I start dancing, right? And sometimes what automatic is what people gonna think about you, right? Are you crazy dancing? And some days I don't care, right? I should dance. And as we have this conversation, for me, it's like, yes, it's the same. How many times we holding ourselves, our communication, our everything in our business and life. It's like, first of all, who told us to be grown up is to not dance, to not be present in life, to take serious? We need to be what? Right? Oh, for you to be take serious, you do this, you do that. As how we show up is how we want to show up, or how is we have been defined what is to be show up and how you need to show up. No? It's like, do you imagine if we all do supermarkets dancing and moving and feeling the music and hugging and kiss and like just being free? Yeah. Thank you for listening. That's what was for me, showing up.
Ilioma, you were so in alignment with Lisa because she was showing up. Oh, sorry, getting up. Or I think it was showing up and getting up. Oh, no, showing up. Sorry, it was getting up and follow up. So it's funny because then you added the extra component of everything because it's not just about how often you're showing up. It's also how often you continue to get up. And then after you've shown up and you've gotten up, what do you follow up with? Because again, like, and I love that because you are like my Samba sister. And so, yeah, there's people who are fashionistas. There are people who are movers and shakers. There are people who want to do all the business. There are closers. Like, you need every component, not just in business, but truly how you have conversations with yourself. Like I said, I was going to do this. And even if I didn't do it 100%, the best thing I could have done is at least shown up. Like, at least show up. And so thank you for adding that because I feel like as I'm still in this transition of how do I be the change I want to wear? Well, what type of material am I using? Like, am I using saran wrap? Am I using wool? Am I using synthetics? Like, it's not just about what you're creating, it's also what you're creating from. And again, that all takes dedication to know, like, I expect that if I say I'm going to make X, Y, and Z happen, that it happens because one, it shows up, I show up, and I've got a vision for how it's going to be shown out as it continues. Thank you. I'll open up to the rest of the room. I just wanted to celebrate that it takes something not only to consistently do something, but to commit it to the way it's going to be. And so thank you for holding your integrity high today, Ilioma.
Yes, I'd also like to thank Ilioma for showing up today and talking about the celebration of life. And what if everyone was dancing in the grocery stores? What if everyone actually behaved as human in this human existence that we're having? I think that the world would be a much better place if we all just got back to the humanity of it. And I'm so grateful to be here today. I was talking with Rihanna in the breakout room in TMR, and I am still processing the grief of losing everything I owned to a fire. And I'm just grateful to be here with the TMR family and with your family here, Janine, whichever way you want me to say it. I'm just so grateful to be here. And I love seeing your faces. I love hearing your voices, and thank you.
From our family to yours, Nicole, thank you for being here. And I don't think it's any coincidence as you're talking about that grief of losing in fire, Samira Naba hopped on because I feel like I may have only experienced a few people who've really lost that type of, like, I don't even want to call it dissolving. I don't know how to explain fire. Like, it really is just something that comes through and snatches it up. And so thank you for sharing that this morning too, because however we can be in process of processing our grief, I truly believe it's also leading the people who are going to watch our lives and follow by our example. So thank you for being just not even a biohack mom, just being a brilliant human being. And thank you for showing your compassion today in such a vulnerable way. Love you.
Something. Thank you for sharing that, Nicole. I missed that time. Because I was talking to my niece, or even my only life right now. And I have been like 7 years, my parents lost everything, right? We went to a house with 5 bedrooms to 1 bedroom, 90 people. And I was talking with my niece, how many times we get so much attached to something. And when it's time to let it go or not. And sometimes all my biggest losses was after that I created my biggest thing. And going through the process is not easy. You know? And at the same time, it gave us chance to create it from nothing. From nothing. It's like lemon from nothing. And it has one thing that we can do as long as we are alive. And we have life and health to do. Yesterday, a friend of mine, she survived 3 cancer, brain cancer. She was 20. She survived another cancer. And yesterday, she said, I went to the doctor. And he told me I have lung cancer. And that is, she says, incurable. It's like, it's a terminal. And she said, but you don't know me. I survived 2 cancer. I'm going to survive my 3rd. You know? And she gave me a little bump in my life. And I'm getting on that time right now, dealing with a bunch of things. You know, how can we see the light of the end of the tunnel? Like we can see at least a light that we say, I got it this, and keep walking, you know? And I'm telling you, I tell it to myself, right? Because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to lose anything else in life. And if when I lose, it's like, why I lose? And I was telling my niece, she want to get divorced, but she don't want to lose the house. And sometimes we never know. No.
Yeah, my mom has been through 3 divorces, so I know exactly what you're talking about. We gotta let it go, you know, every day. Just, and if it's not ours, we feel in love, but you know, you can't take it on, right? Just
Yeah.
my
And thank you
dad's
for
divorced
sharing.
so, whatever. Yeah, if you want to know about my dad's divorced 4 times, so like, you want to know about divorce? I've had probably 8 of them, you know, in my lifetime. I'm only 38, not, you know, I've never been married. But like I just have to laugh. What else, you know, what can you do? None of it was under my control, right? And I know that I'm healed and I'm healing every day, but I don't look at it like that anymore anyway. But I understand what you're saying, like when people around you go through these hardships, truly do. And it's like, it doesn't give us anything to rehash them. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not saying they don't mean something to us. However, if, you know, we're moving forward into the future, you know, a lot of times, well, for me anyways, the best thing was to like release that stuff and cut the cords, but that took something from me. That took like a conscious effort. I don't know if that makes sense. And maybe I interjected. Sorry, I do that. I kind of have ADD, so. But that's also in my mind that I have ADD. They invented that. I don't know if anyone has ideas about that, or maybe I'm bringing the conversation into something really random. Okay. Yeah.
Never.
Susan, go ahead.
There's room enough for everyone. Be where you are. Welcome.
Okay.
That's what I would say. When people have their experiences, sometimes it's just having a space to say what's
Yeah.
happening and not necessarily have, it's like was it you, Todd? Sleepy Todd? Did we have this conversation about which of the three H's, right? So there's three H's.
Yeah. Here,
Sometimes people want to be heard. Sometimes people want to be helped. And sometimes people want to be held. So which of those three is it? And, I would say sometimes on this call, it's one of those three, except for the holding, unless you hold yourself. Which actually, if you hug yourself, your body can't tell if it's you or somebody else. And it's a 13-second hug that allows oxytocin to drop. So that's why many times when I finish meditations, I invite people to wrap their arms around themselves and give themselves a hug. So there you go. And I'm sorry I came in towards the end of your share, Nicole. Yeah, there's something specific about having a house burn that's just different. But then I also noticed that sometimes it's like when someone that you love dies, and then you don't really want to talk about it because there's the having to deal with the other person's experience about it. Like I just want to feel what I feel. And perhaps that's maybe where you're at. And so I don't know how long ago that was. And I'm sorry that that happened to you and your family.
I appreciate that. It was the effect of the fire. My stuff didn't actually burn. So I want to be clear and concise and transparent about that. So everything is very severely smoke damaged. And it's a process that I'm trying to work through day by day. And I walk in faith on this one because I don't have anything else to walk on. Basically, I'm just grateful for all the help that I'm getting and receiving, and just staying grateful for just life, being alive. And as far as feelings go, I think as I go through and sort through the things that I need to sort through, because evidently that's what I have to do, I'm sure more emotions will pop up for me. And I appreciate you offering some grace in that, because it is a process, and it is hard. And I never would have ever wished this upon anyone I know. Yet I also know things happen for a reason. So it's a fresh start for me on the other side. I just got to get through to the other side.
One object at a time.
Exactly that.
Right.
Thank you.
And then for everyone else, this is one of the things that I learned, because inventory, like being able to say what you actually have, it's not an easy process. So every once in a while, if you just get your phone out, take a video of all your things in your space, because it's not easy to remember all of the things. And yeah. I mean, it is a process. So anything that can't, but it's hard because there isn't really a way for people to support you outside of just hearing it, right? Because they can't go through your stuff.
And then one of the things that the Red Cross has offered me is counseling, and then they found out what insurance I had, and it turns out that in the insurance that I have, counseling therapy, if you will, is actually at no cost to me. So I'm looking forward to that, because I believe I do have an ADHD diagnosis that hasn't been diagnosed up until now. And at 53, that's kind of hard for me to say, but maybe, just maybe, there'll be some sort of I don't like labels, but some sort of label to help me get through this, because I know that there's something that got me here and there's a reason for it. So I know that I get distracted easily. I get off subject easily. I don't focus as well as, like, I would say most people can. I mean, if I'm given a job, I'm going to go and I'm going to do it the best I can do it. Can you distract me from that job? Yes. Do I try not to get distracted? Absolutely, because I'm getting paid for what I do. However, the thought is still there. The thought process is still there. And if there's any sort of help I can get with that, even I'm hoping for some sort of herb or, something natural that can help me center and focus better. And, even if that means creating a new routine or a new rhythm, if you will, then I'm looking forward to the future and just staying grateful for that. But I'm so happy you heard me here today, because some people can't listen. And we have 2 ears and one mouth, and I really appreciate this space.
Welcome. Also, I have ADHD, so there you go.
When my
Welcome to the
ADHD
club. It's the
keeps
ADHD family.
okay.
Go, you go, Lauren.
No, well, no, I forgot what I was gonna say. So
Well, so I mean, I didn't, I wasn't diagnosed until my kid was. And so there's certain amazing gifts that you get by having ADHD, which is, for me, when I'm into something, when I like the thing, I'm like all in. There isn't going to be anyone who's going to be as, it's like hyper focused. Um, and part of me is like, well, our not normative brain just happened to not be the brain that's in charge of the universe. Like in Spain, the guy who had the lisp, the king. So everybody started speaking Spanish with a lisp. So I'm like, well, if somebody had an ADHD brain who was in charge of things, then that would be the standard, right? Instead of the standard that exists now. Um, it's I would recommend, if this is helpful, because there's things that I've noticed about myself, is having a body double, like having somebody be there with you, even if they're not actually with you while you're going through this process of inventory, like the the way of managing it. That's one way. You can also do little chunks of time and then like have it be a game. Like I'm just going to do 30 minutes. And then when you start to stress about how you need to do this thing, then just know you have another 30 minutes that you can schedule. And then that becomes like 30 minutes and 30 minutes and 30 minutes. In the end, you'll have gone through it, but it may take you as long as it takes you. Those are some of my suggestions for you. Structure is very helpful, and just having people help you. Like if somebody says, "How can we help you?" You can say, "Yes, come sit with me while I do this. Be on the phone with me as I do this." Just having another being there for some of us is incredibly helpful. It's also sometimes challenging because you are extraordinary, right? Like you can do 1,000 things on one day, and the next day you can do one. And people don't really get. Actually, having ADHD is considered a disability, not like it's a stigma, but just as knowing, like if you were in a wheelchair and some days you can get up and dance and like do backflips, people will be like, great. And the next day you're like, I just can't. I have to be in the wheelchair today. People would understand. But ADHD brains, people don't typically understand that. So anyway, that's what I have to say. And yes, and Lauren remembered.
I think it's important to state, I went back to school in 2019 and I actually graduated and got licensed as a physical therapist assistant, which helps me so tremendously to be in something so specific. You know what I mean? Like school's so general. I already have a degree, but it's like what in sport management. Anyway, I was gonna say like when I took the boards though, I got like a disability grant for my ADHD where I could be in a room alone, and I knew I would pass if I did this for 4 hours, not 2. Also had a noisemaker so I could have, no distraction. Anyway, you had to fill that out specifically for ADHD. So yes, it is definitely like, something that deserves an environment that suits you, if that makes sense too. Like if you know how you work best with that type of, mind, that type of distracting mind, it's always like good to, at least for me, create that, like she said, structure for sure. Structure is great. That's why I don't like have my own business. Not yet anyway. I don't have like, I'd rather work for someone because they give me structure. That's helped me every time. So it's kind of like when you're in an environment though, like that helps you. Like I said, right? Noisemaker. Okay, more hours to do this test. I'm not pressured. Those 2 things alone helped me, and I passed it right away the first time. But yeah, I know that helped. So like what helps you, right? Maybe that's helpful. I don't know.
I have one more thing to say. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something, Nicole?
I was just going to say that previous to this past trauma that created this chaotic situation that I'm in today, I know that I kept podcasts on a lot. Like I would listen to, those long podcasts of the brilliance out there. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention any names because I'm not like that. But they're like 2, 3, 4 hours long. And you just listen to them in the background of everything that you're doing. And I know that I can probably implement something like that back into this process just to get through the process. So even if it's just listening to Zoom calls, I can probably, be present with my ears, but not be present with my face because I'm in the middle of doing something. So multitasking and also processing what I need to process to get through this, because it is something only I can do and no one else can do it for me. So I've got to take responsibility for it, take the reins, and find a way to wrangle in the chaos. And I think that is probably where it's going to be, me listening more and talking less.
Yeah, I've been listening to Conversations with God. I listened to it. It's on YouTube. I can post it in the chat if you're interested. Free book on YouTube. And I find it quite comforting. And if I may say, the only other piece, what sometimes people don't realize is that having ADHD is actually means that your brain is tired. Like we tend to be tired because it takes so much for us to ramp up to meet what's expected in the type A personality world that we live in, that it actually is exhausting. And so when you are not rested sufficiently, you probably won't be able to function well. So to bear that in mind. Sometimes when people are like, well, this person is hyperactive. Well, if you know someone who, and it might be hyperactive thoughts, it might not be physically hyperactive. Some of us as females, we tend to have like repetitive thoughts as opposed to, jumping up and down like some people do. There's different types of ADHD. Anyway, back to the fact that your brain is tired. So if you know someone who's tired and they have to stay up, they tend to get hyper. And that is the ADHD experience. Like we're tired, so we ramp up. And so then after that ramping up, we crash. And it's like, this is the cycle. So everything that you can do for yourself to be kind, to take care of yourself, to rest, to give yourself the grace. There's nothing wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. We just all have different brains that do different things. That's what I wanted to put out. And that's why actually also when people who have ADHD, if we have coffee, like caffeine, doesn't, to a certain amount, doesn't make us hyper. It actually calms us. Yeah. So go caffeinate.
I'm sorry, I missed it. What calms us down?
Caffeine. Usually if I have, I mean, it depends. It's just the right amount of coffee. So during the day, I have very weak coffee and I sip on it because I like my water to be coffee flavored. So all day long, I'm sipping it like weak tea. I sip my coffee a little tiny bit, a little tiny bit. And then I'm not actually hyper. I'm just kind of chill. But then there is an impact because by the time I'm home, or there's like certain things where I'm just out, and it's like it's hard to know when that's going to happen. So the more you can, give yourself the grace, give yourself the kindness. We don't, again, I grew up, and I mean, I'm not far from your age, Nicole, but I grew up and it was like, oh my gosh, I remember report cards where they're like, oh, she's so smart. If she just focused, if she, she's always daydreaming. And I'm like, what? What does that mean? Are daydreams bad? You know, it's like I didn't really understand because we're we're not in an environment that encourages that. And there's like so many other factors. I mean, it's not, typically there are family members that also have ADHD, or if you've had certain traumas, it's like I put it down to an element of post-traumatic stress disorder is linked, but that's also my own theory. We live in an environment that isn't the most healthy and doesn't necessarily allow for people to be however they are, however your brain is. It's more like, you have to show results, and you have to, this is just the culture I've chosen to live in, right? The consequence of that is trying to push myself. And again, like there are some days that it's extraordinary, the level of things that can be accomplished. And then people tend to think that that's going to be an everyday thing. And then I feel bad because it's not an everyday thing. I'm like, oh no, my car. I have stuff in my car for donation that I've been driving around with for like 2 or 3 months. And my kids are like, Mommy, this car. And I'm like, oh, don't tell me anything. It's closer to getting donated because it's in my car. It's one step closer. Anyway, God, I feel like I talked so much today. Thank you for giving me the space to share, because I was sharing about me too.
Nicole, I'll say, I know you said something earlier, and I'm not quoting you for something like, it's something I have to do alone. I get it, but you also want to get, you are not alone. And I also get why you say that, and I could be wrong, is because there's just some people that you don't feel safe with to maybe share, to support you. And I invite you to just don't close down that you're 100% alone. Not that they need to go and help you physically there. And you could ask a question. then you find somebody and say, are you the judgmental type? Because I can't have you in my space if you're gonna be judgmental. Like, be straight with them. Don't waste your time. You're over 50. I'm 50. I just turned 54. I participate in certain programs where we have to have what they call a committed listener. And they paired me up with somebody last quarter that different from me. The motherfucker ended up accomplishing things. I didn't accomplish shit, but I don't blame him. Then this quarter, somebody said, I'll be everybody in the con. So I told him what I was looking for. And then this person quickly said, I'll be everybody. And then I said, all right, I'll be this person. But I had to have a real conversation with them this week because I wasn't like, oh my God, they chose me. No. I'm like, why did they choose me? Are they going to be like a vampire and drain my energy? And I don't get what I need from them because I'm sorry, I'll tell them I'll be there to support you, but I need somebody that's going to support me at the same time. So this person, we had a straight up conversation, and the way it was going in the middle of the conversation, I had to stop this person because this has happened to me. I don't know if it's happened to you with other people. They're like, yeah, we'll put this plan together, blah, 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 blah. I said, hold on, before we go further, are you doing this as a committed listener or are you going to charge me? Because people have done that shit to me. That I'm like, listen, you know how many times I've helped people all the time for free? And sometimes people will say, yeah, I'll put this plan together. Oh, by the way, it's going to cost you $2,000-3,000. I'm like, that they never brought that up in the beginning of the conversation. So, through time, through age, just like wine, right? I don't want to get so cliche, but we get wiser. Trust your intuition, but know that you're not alone. Maybe it's not none of us in this group. Maybe you know people outside that you say, I think this person could help me, and that buzz because you don't feel safe with them. You gotta ask straight up. Say, I think you can help me, but I just want to know if I could trust you, feel comfortable with you. Oh, did she? Oh, there you are. I wasn't sure if you left.
So I don't think I did say alone, just to say that out loud. If I did, it was a Freudian slip of some sort because I am never alone. And I may feel lonely at certain points in my life as a single female at 53 years old, but I'm definitely never alone in spirit or in person. And in fact, because I feel like I'm very much an introvert, I always find something where I can recharge my battery on my own, even if there's no one else there. And thank you for what you said in regards to I will never be alone because of not just this group, but other groups that I have recently decided to bring into my life because I know that I have community around me. I know that my faith is strong enough that I can get through this. I'm wondering what happened to Todd. I hope someone's in touch with him because it looked like he was having a day already, and I don't think anybody asked him about what was happening. But yeah, thanks for listening and thanks for talking, Susan. I appreciate it.
Thank you for saying that too, Nicole. I will touch base with Todd. I wasn't sure if he was, wow. Now it's even happening with my voice because I saw him with the tissue. Although, yes, we will follow up with him because when he is able to hop on, he's usually at work or he's on his walk during his work break. And then, yeah, so thank you for noticing that.
And I want to say thank you for like all the conversations, everything that we bought. It's because this is like was so I don't listen everything you say, Nicole, but really making me think so much in my life. And Lauren and Samira, because I think I have ADD. And thank you, Lauren. I think I do because, and Lauren, like what you were saying about working by yourself and have structure, like to work into somebody, I can see that in myself. And now being on team, what work is I create accountabilities. I can see if I am Janine, Samira, I work as like a machine. If I have commitment, I have the time to get it back. Sometimes it's not that you can not have your business, but maybe you can have a partner or people that can be accountable that you can call and say, hey, what do I need to accomplish? And Nicole, today I got it like in my entire life. And Nicole, and I say that to you, and I say for me, I really need you accountable, maybe a person that every day in the morning say, hey, what we are there to accomplish today? And this conversation, like really how it's so important to have accountable in the life. In the morning, that's what I need to accomplish today. In the evening, hey, did you accomplish this? What do you need to done? How about you finish this, And, and I'm not there. And it's funny how sometimes you forget it. I had in my apartment burn up too, had a fire. And I remember going through that, It's interesting because life, we go to so many things that sometimes we get out, right? We are talking about it. Oh, you lost this and lost that. We lost this and we lost that. And we lost this and we lost that. And it's so... and how is life? And how do we get out when we go down? And I'm not saying you, Nicole, I say about myself, right? And then we go up, and this ADD and all this that may never was the diagnostic, but I realized Samira saying about the coffee. I don't want to drink coffee, but if I put the coffee, people are like, can you sleep? I'm like, yes. When I'm done, I could take shot. I close my eyes, I'm done. Coffee does not have effect on me to keep it awake. It's almost keeping me going, and I don't need a lot, just some of my mixing. And at the same time, it's like how we are all interconnected. It's like we all can connect into so many different ways. And no matter our life, we all kind of way had the same experience. Can have it come in different way. But because I'm starting seeing, I'm like, everybody that we related to, we're going to see that we have things in common. That we're thinking about it. And I think having this space, Janine, Samira, and Shani, where we can share ourselves and whatever what we are, it's what gave.
Yeah. People used to talk on airplanes. Remember those days? But I was just on a flight and it was dead silent the whole time. And I don't know, I just mean like there's so much like trepidation or something about like having connection, and it's just like kind of sad. I don't know. You know what I mean, probably. Like, am I gonna, I feel like there was this fear around talking. And maybe it's COVID, and like maybe 20 years from now, they're going to study post-COVID social behaviors because they are different. I mean, we got to admit there's something that's not as, it's just not as open as it used to be. Like, I don't know if anyone probably, yeah, that's how I feel.
I'm going to agree with you on that, Lauren. I see the difference of what communication was like pre-COVID versus current. And I believe it is about focusing on communication because there's some some younger people, and I'm not going to try to like put down any generation over another, but they don't know how to communicate. And if they do communicate, it's quote unquote not properly. Like they don't know proper punctuation. They don't know that, punctuation makes the difference in certain situations because they grew up texting with their fingers, you know what I mean? So, and that's fine. I'm not a good texter. I'm 53. I'm not going to be a good texter because I didn't learn how to do that at a young age. And I think they have their superpowers just like we have our superpowers. And if we work together and communicate properly, we can accomplish anything. And I think it really is about proper communication. And if we all just learn how to listen and communicate properly, we can get through this together. And there is enough space for everyone to win.
Mm-hmm.
100%. And I know we're at the top of the hour, although I also wanted to slip this in because, again, full transparency, even coming into the conversation earlier, like, y'all, like Zoom has had people be able to see me in so many different ways as I'm like going from one meeting to that. Like, I have people in like my closest, like, I would call them at like 1 a.m. if I really need something, and they could call me and they've never seen me outside of a blazer. Versus like this morning, I was realizing, like, wow, most people in my day-to-day, like, Zoom virtual world because of COVID sees me when I'm running or when I'm making smoothies. Like, I love that you brought that up, Lauren, because I feel like to wrap everything in what conversations we've had, like, whether it's going through grief or you being on your celebration of what part of your growth you're in, how often are you showing up to be the best version, at least in this moment? Like, and so thank you. So many like tools were given of how do you create the best environment? How do you show up for yourself? What does it mean to follow up and get up, especially when you might get knocked down? And how often are we actually reaching out? And so thank you everyone who just poured into this container, like being someone that someone can ask for help for. Just to be listened to, whether it be Samira, I love that you keep reminding me of these and I keep messing up the 3 H's. Heard, held, and what's the third one?
Heard, help.
Here. Oh,
You want to help the person, you
Help.
want to hear the person, or you want to hold the person.
Yeah, because again, we never know what they need. And we might assume we know based on what we're thinking, always asking. Like, that's just the bottom thing. Like, are we actually in, like you had just said, the communication that's going to create however that chaos or that catastrophe might turn into the next celebration. So I don't know how long this will go for right now, but I just really wanted to put that in there because I'm realizing that's the missing piece, y'all. It's like, how are you communicating and realizing more than what language we speak or how we're dancing? What are we communicating through our body language? And so again, even with that, Nicole, thank you for insightfully saying Todd didn't share. And we all know we're sending our brother a love. So yeah, I love this conversation today. And is there anything else people would like to add before we depart and continue on whatever we're going to create today for ourselves based on the ripples we've created in this container?
I'm just going to go get myself a nice coffee. The challenge is the sugar part. So I don't do sugar, I do stevia.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm in kind of a really slow relationship right now, which I've never been in.
Mm-hmm.
Always it's just deep dives into passion. That's I think a part of ADHD too, you know, like the dopamine rush and yeah, anyways, it's a different space. And the reason I bring it up is I think that's a cool way, like communication is really, really big in a relationship, and I'm learning that more and more. He sent me like a chart about feelings because I don't always say how I feel. I just go, hey, you feel good. Let's do this, you know. And that's not what it's about, you know, a relationship. It's not about does that person make me feel good? Can I just feel good with them? Okay, let's use them for good feelings. Like I feel like, yeah, we kind of can do that and it doesn't work. Like, because now we don't know the person at all. We just think they make us feel good because they're attractive and I have a spark. But yeah, anyway, moving forward with that, he sent me a chart of feelings. And I think it's something to be said with slowing down with ourselves to understand how we feel when it comes to like ADHD as well. So just want to bring that up.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Meet yourself where you are. That way others can meet us too.
It's nice now. I can see you smiling, Nicole. Nice dimple. I always wanted dimple. Dang it. My
They're a curse, but it's okay. Because it's one of those things, like if you're not smiling, they think you're mad. Yeah. But I grew up with that and that's the way I am. But thank you. I like to smile. I enjoy life. I think that's the part that people think I'm crazy about because I continue to enjoy life despite what it's throwing at me. Because I can always find the things to be grateful for. And again, I'm grateful for this space today because I do definitely feel heard and seen and appreciated. So thank you, Janine.
welcome. Welcome. Every day. 6 a.m, California time.
Good morning. And I want to say what I got in here. The power of vulnerability. Yes. And to have the space sacred.
I have to go. That's beautiful. Bye, guys.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Thank you.
I'll text you.
Nice
So,
had this morning.
huh?
I said such a lovely call we've had this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we conclude, celebrate yourself for whatever it had you show up today and the cards you were dealt, and you continue to dive and play however you will. Continue to know that, and for whatever moments until we come back together in the next 24 hours, what kind of conversations will you continue to shower? Not just the seeds that you have planted, but also the ones you've watched. And so, as we've landed today, thank you so much for today's meditation. I'm so grateful to have been here for today's divine celebration. Bye, everyone. Until next time. Ilioma.